morning, everyone, and welcome to Discovery Church. I'm Danica, and I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to get started with the service in just a few minutes, but before we do that, we want to let you know about what's happening around DCC. First up, today is the last Sunday for our backpack drive. If you brought a backpack with you today, make sure the supply list is attached to it and drop it off under the big banner in the lobby. If you didn't and you still want to help, you can toss a few bucks in the aquarium and we'll go shopping tomorrow. This is such a great way for us to show the love of Jesus with no strings attached to our community. Next up is an event for guys that you are not going to want to miss.
Do something!
We're combining two of the favorite annual men's events into one fun-packed day. We'll kick off the morning with the Zombie Shoot, a pistol shooting competition where the targets are all zombies. Then be sure to stick around for Man Night. There will be a ton of good food and drinks, a bonfire, and a great group of guys to hang out with. Plus, new this year, we're gonna have video games, as well as the usual stuff like horseshoes and cornhole. Go sign up at me2place.com/events and we'll see you there. Next up, if you want to get connected here at DCC, then Group Link is the event for you.
If you want to get connected in community at DCC, then Group Link is the event for you. Group Link is a relaxed, open house style environment full of friendly people who would love to help you find the right group for you. You'll have the opportunity to check out all the different groups available at DCC. If you see a group that interests you, then get to know the leaders. They would love to talk to you. Plus, it's a good chance for you to figure out if they're a weirdo. If you find any groups that you think are a good fit for you, all you have to do is get signed up. We hope that you will join us for Group Link. Because life happens in circles, not rows.
It would help us out a lot to know that you're coming, so please go get registered for Group Link at me2place.com/events, and we'll see you at Group Link. Next up, serving is a great way to make a difference as well as get connected at DCC.
I'm Michaela, most people call me Mac. I joined Discovery Kids about 2 years ago, working through all of them and watching as they progress through the different age groups and how they just grow. Like in infants, they can't talk yet, so you just have to make sure they don't fall over and help them play with the toys. 1-year-olds, they start saying their first words and they're walking, and then 2-year-olds to step up when they learn what sharing is and how if you spill water, it's gonna be wet. And when they get into 3-year-olds, it's just, you have to watch them not use a diaper anymore, how they have to learn to be potty trained and talk and share their feelings. And then preschool, you have to watch them learn how to sit down and raise their hand and be polite to older people and learn to read and write. And then just slowly, as you get through the different age groups, you just watch as they just make more connections with each other. They dance on stage and they sing these songs and they slowly learn what they mean. And as they get older, you just get to watch their minds work. Watching these kids grow and teaching them and learning from them is just something that will change your heart forever.
If you want to serve in Discovery Kids or just find out more information, go talk to one of the friendly people at the New Kids desk, and they'll be glad to help you. Next up is the event of the year for our women. Check it out. You are not going to want to miss Revive. It's at a beautiful location up in Breckenridge, and the women's ministry team has put in a ton of work to make sure you have a great experience. You need to get registered ASAP because spots are very limited, so go to metwoplace.com/events and sign up. We post all sorts of stuff on social media to keep you in the know about what's going on at DCC, so join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And share our posts too. It's one of the easiest ways to invite our community to DCC. That's it for this week, so please stand up and join us for worship.
To the desperate eyes and reaching hands, to the suffering and the lame, to the ones the world has cast aside. Where you want me, I will be. I will go, I will go, I will go, Lord, send me to the world, to the lost, to the poor and hungry, to get everything I am, pray everything in your hands. I will go, send me. Let me not be blind with privilege. Give me eyes to see the pain. Let the blessing you poured out on me not be spent on me in vain. Let this life be used for change. I will go, I will go, I will go, Lord, send me to the world, to the lost. develops in your love. Romances me. You guys can have a seat. Going to move into a time of communion here this morning. And this is a celebration of the sacrifice that Jesus made. We just sang about this name Yahweh. This name that was given to us in the Old Testament. This name of God that was so sacred, that was so beautiful and holy that the people of God weren't allowed to speak it. And then God came as a man, and he gave us this other name, this name of Jesus, this name that is more powerful, that is above and beyond any other name. Our God saw our struggle, and he came, and he went to the cross, and he bled, and he died to show us his love, to demonstrate to us how much we meant to him. And this is how we choose to remember that sacrifice that was made. So if you're unfamiliar with what this looks like, a tray is going to come up and down the aisle with a little wafer and cup of juice. Take one of each of those. Take it on your own time. We're not going to come back up and do it all together. But allow this to be a moment for you to be silent and be still. Remember the sacrifice that was made for you. To call on the name of Jesus. To remember how deeply and passionately loved you are, regardless of whether or not you think you have earned it, regardless of whether or not you think you're in the club or not, you are deeply, passionately, and relentlessly loved by the creator of the universe, by this name of Yahweh, by this name of Jesus. And then take those elements as you see fit. And if all of this is just weird and uncomfortable and you want nothing to do with it, just pass it around to the next person. It's totally understandable. No one's going to ask you to leave. No one's going to look at you funny, judge you, anything like that. Just keep the tray moving. So let's pray, and then we'll share in that meal together. God, we just thank you for your love. We thank you that the old way of doing things was not enough. The old system of laws and rules and regulations where we weren't even allowed to speak your name was not good enough for you. God, that you came, that you removed everything that stood in our way. That you tore the veil, that you freed us from the shackles that held us in bondage, God. We ask that you remind us of that love today, that you allow us to be still and to be present before you, and to remember the love that you've poured out on each and every one of us. In your name we pray. Amen. please stand and join us for one last song?
Who can compare to you, my King? Who can compare to you, my Lord? Who can compare to you, my friend? I looked and I found that there's no one like you. And you take my hand, and you guide me on, and you show me the way to life. And you live
guys can have a seat. God, we thank you for this time. This time where we can come, we can sing these songs to you. We can be reminded of who you are and what it is you've done for us. God, the only thing that sets this apart is that we come and we remember. That every week we sit and we remember you and what you did for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay. That looks better. Hey. How you doing? All right. I'm just going to start. How about that? Should I start? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there's house lights. Mm-hmm. We're not perfect. That's one of my lines. I usually don't use it this early, though. Okay, so we're going to have to do some crazy stuff here. So I'm just going to talk to you. Hey, oh, boy. Welcome to corporate America, right? Your cubicle. You felt safe and comfortable until we did that, right? Well, we're going to work on the lights and see if we can get those going. I'm going to go get started today. So, hey, good morning to you, and welcome to this crazy place, imperfect place that we call DCC. Hey, we're pumped, and we're thrilled, and we're excited to have you with us here today, and that's always true. It's especially true if you're brand new. We are just pumped and thrilled and excited and all kinds of other words. I promise you are all good ones that you decide to spend a little bit of your Sunday morning with us. Here's what we know to be true. You have lots of options as to what you're going to do with your day. And if you decide, hey, I'm going to go to church today, you got a lot of options with that even in a city like ours. And so we know that, and here's what we want you to know. We don't take that for granted. We don't take that lightly in this place. We are honored and privileged that you have decided to be here with us today. We really are honored and privileged that you've decided to make this a part of your day. And you need to know a few things. We also want you to know this. All of your story is safe and welcome here today, regardless of how it reads. True every single week. And you're in a room today full of people exactly like you. We're just a group of people in this place who normally don't have the lights on like this, but we come together here every single week, and we're chasing after. What we're after is we're all chasing after a better way to live. There's got to be a better way, and so we're chasing after the better way to live. We happen to believe in this place that Jesus offers that, but the best part for you, I think, every single week in this place is this. You don't even have to believe that. You don't even have to believe that to belong right here with us every single week. So good to have you with us. Thanks for being here today. Hope you want to come back. And it's a great day to be here for the very first time today, too, because we're starting a brand new series today. So you get to be in on it from the very get-go called Lean on Me. And yes, if you're wondering, yes, it's kind of based on the song Lean on Me. And no, you're not going to hear that song today. And yes, you're probably going to hear it before the series is over, but I'm not going to tell you when because I want you to keep coming back, all right? So there we go. I'll stop at nothing to get you to come back. But you probably heard this song before, right? I don't know anyone that probably hasn't. That key lyric, we all need somebody to lean on. We all need somebody to lean on. And here's the thing. I don't think I have to work very hard to convince you that that's true. Right? I don't have to stand up here and work very hard. All of us, right? Even if we've had a trail of bad relationships in our life. And I'm not really talking about romantic relationships in this series. We'll touch on that maybe a little. But we've all had a trail of bad relationships in our lives, right? Relationships that have gone south. And even if we've had bad relationship after bad relationship after bad relationship, this is true. We all recognize a need for real relationship. We all have this deep desire to connect with at least, in real relationship with at least a few other people in our lives and in our stories. And that's just true of every single one of us, even if we've had bad relationships in our lives and in our stories, right? We think, I need a few people in my life, right? So the problem's not our desire. The problem's not the want or the need. The problem is there's lots of stuff standing in the way of that. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this series. That's why we're doing this series. In fact, I'm going to make a bold statement here. There may not be one single factor that is more standing in between us and the life that we want than what it is that we're going to talk about today and for the next 3 weeks. And I don't expect you to believe that. All I'm asking you to do is this. Just keep coming back, hear us out before you decide whether or not that's true. You know, I've been thinking a lot over an unusual amount, actually, in the last 10 days or so, about a few relationships that I have in my life. This past Tuesday was the anniversary, 1-year anniversary of the loss of Craig McConnell, my good friend, my mentor at Ransomed Heart. He was just a great man, and it's one of the greatest friendships. When I think about his friendships, I realize it's one of the greatest gifts that God has ever given me. Wow, disco. And so Tuesday morning, I woke up early, and I felt like God, woo. Hey, all right, we're getting there. Woo, yay! I can't see you anymore. It's awesome. No, you're good-looking people, in all seriousness. So I woke up early Tuesday. So Craig, you know, I was thinking about him, and Tuesday was the anniversary date. And I woke up just reflecting on my relationship with him and what a gift he was to me. And then my day was really packed full. So I had meetings all day long. So I started like 7:45 in the morning, and then I walked out of the building that night about 8 o'clock at night. But despite the fact that I had meeting after meeting, in between those moments, in the in-between moments, I really spent some time just thinking about Craig's life, his legacy, moments, stories, all the laughter, because if you were around Craig, there was lots and lots of laughter. I spent some time that day texting with Lori, his wife, and his 2 daughters, Megan and Lindsay, out in California. And I texted with John and Morgan, some over at Ransomed Heart. And it was just a great day, just remembering this life and legacy of my good friend, Craig. And then I also texted this week. I found myself texting this week with my friend Mary, who happens to be married to my best buddy Dave back in Louisville, Kentucky. He's like my brother. He's like a brother to me, but he's also been battling cancer for the last 2 or 3 years. And so last week, he was at Vanderbilt for some experimental treatment stuff, and they discovered that he now has large tumors on his brain and on his spine, and cancer's raising its ugly head and battling hard. He's a fighter. He's in great spirits, but he had a hospice referral this week. And that was devastating news for me, and I'm really, really sad about that, right? And so I've been thinking about these guys and these people that have been really, really close to me, and I'm thinking about this lean on me stuff, right? We all need somebody to lean on, and yeah, we do, and both those men have been that for me, and I've been that for them too. But as I thought about that, you know, as I was thinking about my relationships with these 2 guys, what my relationship was with Craig and what it still is with Dave, I realized that it's great. Having somebody to lean on is great, and it's necessary, and it's needed, but there is so much more to it than just that. And that's why we're doing this series. If that's true, we need to talk about it, and that's what I want us to begin to talk about in the rest of the time we have left together today. So let's jump in and do this, okay? We're going to hit 4 verses today, 4 individual verses. It's not the way we normally roll, but that's the way we're going to roll today, starting in Proverbs chapter 13. So if you have a Bible, go ahead and turn there. Proverbs 13, 3 out of the 4 are in Proverbs. The other one's in 1 Corinthians if you want to hold there, chapter 15. If you don't have a Bible and you want one, they're on the back tables. If that feels weird to you, grab one on your way out, take it home today. It's a gift to you. You can hit our app or our website if you've got your phone out, or you can read off that programmer with me on the screens. Okay, it's going to be really easy, this first verse. Not a lot of words. Proverbs 13, verse 20. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Okay, let's stop right there for just a second. So this walk word described here is not a one-time walk. It's not a casual stroll with this person that you've just met and all that. That's not what it's talking about. The Hebrew word here for companion, when you start to study the original language, it's a person you're regularly involved with, intertwined with. It's a special friend. In fact, one of the 8 times that this Hebrew word is used in the Old Testament, it's in reference to a best man at a wedding. It's in that context. So, this is not just an acquaintance. This is not just one of those people where you go, you know what, I think I might know him, or I met him once, or anything like this. No. This is someone you're doing life closely with. Now, let's dial this in for just a few minutes. Let's dial this into our lives and our stories as we sit here today. Here's the question. What does this verse look like in your life as you sit here today? Who occupies this space in your world? and in your life, maybe the best way to ask it is this: who is in my inner circle? Make this question personal. As you sit here today and you think about your life, who is in my inner circle? And I want to use the circle terminology here because if you hang around with us very long in this place, we talk about circles all the time in this place. Circles, not rows. Circles, not rows. Circles, not rows, right? We talk about living life together in a small circle with a few other people all the time in this place. Why? Because we believe that the life that we all want, and that this better life that we came in here chasing for, that Jesus came to bring us, is found not in the long rows that we find ourselves sitting in today, but when we sit in small circles with a few other people. Now, that doesn't mean what we're doing today is not necessary. All right? This is a necessary part of the journey. It's a necessary part of the process. But here's what I want you to understand. If your life looks like this, long row, long row, long row, long row, long row, even if it's every single weekend or every single Sunday, over the course of time, you will eventually be disappointed. It's true. And a lot of us have been doing this church thing for a long time. We'll tell you it's true. Yep, I remember that. Or some of us right now, we're feeling that today, right? So I'm not saying it's not important. Here's the deal: circles, not rows. That's the key to the life you're looking for. That's what we say all the time in this place. Not saying it's not important. I'm saying the row you're sitting in right now is not the destination. Life on mission together is the destination, and that requires, are you ready? Here's the key word: connection. That requires connection. If we're going to find the life, we have to connect. We have to connect. A word that we say in this place, we've determined, is a non-negotiable. Right? And it's one of the 6 essentials for you finding the life that you want. All right? So we have to be connected, which is not a problem for us, because if you look at our lives, in our stories, even as we sit here today, we are connected. We're connected with some people. The problem is most of those people aren't here. Right? And so am I paying attention to the people I'm closely connected to, or I'm most connected with? And just kind of think about that for a minute. And as I say those words, listen. This is not judgment. It's not criticism. I'm not condemning the people in your inner circle, the people that occupy this space in your life. This is not me commenting on your inner circle. I just want you to think about your inner circle as I make a few observations about mine. Because here's how it goes. This is kind of the story of my life when it comes to my inner circle. For about 35 to 40 years, I don't know exactly how many, of my life, I was unsure whether or not my inner circle, any of those seats in my inner circle, the people closest to me, could be occupied by a church person. I didn't know whether or not a Christian could occupy that seat. Honestly, for about 35 to 40 years, the answer was no. Absolutely not going to happen, can't happen. So what happens? I have church world and I have my inner circle, and they're 2 separate and distinct circles. That's how I lived my life. Now, why did I live my life that way? That's a great question. Here's the answer. Because I looked at church people, Christians, and I made this conclusion. They're weird. Right? Christian people are weird. And sometimes they can be mean and judgmental and condescending and condemning and unaccepting and you name it, right? All these words. And so, you know what? They don't seem to really accept me or understand me or get me, and they don't really seem to really want to know me, and they're not much like me. These are my conclusions in my mind. And so, no, I'm not going to do that. And so what did I do, right? I made this conclusion about about church people. Now, was it true? Yes. Is it still true? Yes, about some church people. But what I did was, I threw all church people in that same bucket. And here's the thing, I missed out. I had no idea, but I was missing out. Now, you know when this started to break down and change for me? It started to break down and change for me, really, when I met my buddy Dave, who I just talked about. When I met my buddy Dave, that's when all this thinking and stuff started to break down for me. So when we moved into our house, 6 weeks ago, we've been unpacking boxes. I was in the garage. I pulled this 5x7 photo out of a box. It had this nasty old, it was old, and it had this gold frame on it. But I took a snapshot of it with my phone, and I sent it to my buddy Dave. I'm going to throw the picture of the picture that I took up there. So that's me on the left, if you can't recognize, top row. That's Dave on the far right. That's my buddy Dave on the far right. I'm 22, he's 27. In this picture. And we had just won, we were about 6 months into our friendship in this photograph, 6 months into our friendship, and we had just won this national church softball tournament. So these teams all came together around the country, and we just won the whole stinking thing, which was awesome and amazing. Now here's the thing. Up until this point in my life, I'd come to a conclusion that a Christian, church people, could not and should not really be close to me. And that happened. I carried that until I really met Dave. And here's the thing I want to tell you today. As I stand up here today, I cannot imagine the last 30 years of my life without him in it. I cannot imagine where I'd be today without him in my life over the past 30 years. The last 15, we haven't even lived in the same state. It doesn't matter. And you know what I'm talking about. And so I want to ask you the question, I want you to think about this, right? How do the people closest to us, how do they get in those seats? How do the people that you've determined are going to be a part of your inner circle, right? The people closest to you, how'd they get there? I mean, there's a limited number of seats. On what basis am I deciding who sits in these seats? What criteria am I using to determine the people that are going to live life closest to me? Now, here's why this question is so important, okay? Because the people in our inner circle, the people that we do life most closely with, here's the deal. They will ultimately determine the direction and the quality of our lives. That's why these are such important questions. The people in my inner circle, in the closest to me, will ultimately determine the direction and the quality of our lives. That's what God's trying to help us with here. He's saying, look, you walk closely with wise people, you're going to grow wise. You walk closely with fools, it's not going to go well for you. It's so important to God that we get this. He has Paul, the Apostle Paul, write this 1,000 years later in 1 Corinthians 15. If you held that place, go there. Real one quick verse, verse 33. Do not be misled, and otherwise don't kid yourselves. Here it is. Bad company corrupts good character. Every single time. So what's God pointing to there when he says that? He's pointing to our inner circle, isn't he? He's pointing to the people that we do life most closely with. And see, here's the thing. These people sitting around you today, people sitting next to you in the row, people sitting in front of you or behind you in the row behind you, hopefully they're making you feel safe. That's our goal in this place every single week. You are safe and welcome here. And if they're not, I want to hear about it because they should be. But here's what you need to realize about the people sitting in the row next to you, behind you, and in front of you, okay? Here's the deal. They cannot and will not ever have the same impact in your life and same effect on your life as the people that you're willing to turn your chair towards and sit in a small circle with. Who's in your small circle? What kind of impact and effect are they having on your life? What kind of difference are they making in your life? I'm telling you, hard questions, but very, very important questions. Yes, we all need somebody to lean on, but there is so much more to it. So much more to it than just that. We need to give that some thought. So second question, okay? As we're reflecting, right? Not judging, reflecting on the real relationships that we have in place in our lives today, here's the second question. So yes, the statement is yes. My inner circle accepts me. Here's the question. Are they really helping me? My inner circle accepts me, but are they really helping me? I don't know about you, but I tend to naturally gravitate toward people who accept me. Don't you? I mean, I gravitate towards, if you don't like me, I'm not moving towards you. I gravitate towards people who accept me, who like me, who love me, who applaud me, who say nice things about me, who encourage me and support me and commiserate with me when I'm sad or whiny about something, who compliment me. Those are the people that I move towards in my life. I want you to think about the circles you've run in or the circle you're running in this morning. It's still not for me to judge it or anything like that, for me to talk about mine and you to think about yours. I want you to think about those circles, because when I think about the circles, my inner circle and the circles I tend to run in, here's what's true. More often than not, the question as these circles start to form is not, so do we share the same values? Is what's most important to me in my life, is that also what's important to you? That's not on the table, really. The other question that's not there is, are you chasing after the same things in life that I'm chasing after? And this question's not there either. Are you committed to helping me become the person that I want to be? Those aren't the questions that typically are around as this circle begins to form in our lives. The questions, the foundational and fundamental question which most of our relationships form around, you want to know what it is? 4 simple words. Do you accept me? Just think about it. Do you accept me? And listen, I get that our relationships will start there. I mean, that's important, right? We want to create a venue, an environment of acceptance in this place so people feel safe, so they'll keep coming back, so they can bump into Jesus. Acceptance is where it should start. The problem that we run into is when we let it end there too. And listen, I've made a lot of relationship mistakes in my life. Hang around, you'll hear a bunch of them. But I've had to learn a lot of relationship lessons the hard way in my life, and a lot of that has been my fault. If you don't know my story, 12 years ago, crashed and burned as a pastor, had an affair, resigned from ministry, I was out of ministry for over 3 years. My wife, Stace, decided she was going to stay with me. She took the hard road, stayed with me. I started going to counseling. She and Jesus are the real heroes in my story. I got a beautiful hero in my story sitting right down here. Friday was our 33rd wedding anniversary. Yeah, isn't that amazing? And that doesn't happen except for Jesus and my wife. It's just true. And so I'm going to tell you, our marriage today is better than it's ever been. That doesn't mean it's perfect. We had a knockdown drag out last Tuesday night. Just trust me. All right, so we'll talk about that another time. So it's not perfect, right? But it's so much better. Listen, but that season of our life, that 3 year, man, that was a brutal period of time for us. And in the midst of that brutal period, about 2 years into that, I got a phone call one day from a guy named John Wassam. John Wassam is a friend. He was my church planting coach and mentor when I had planted the church in North Carolina. And he was one of the few guys that refused to give up on me when I crashed. And I'll never forget that. You know, most of my friends, and especially friends in ministry, you know what they did? As soon as I crashed, they were gone. I mean, half of them are still gone. They're like roaches when you turn a light on in a room. You never see them again, right? I mean, that's what it felt like to me. He refused to let go of me. Judd Wilhite, senior pastor, Central Christian Church in Vegas. That dude is the real deal. He walked life with me. If you ever get a chance to go there, go there. That's a commercial moment, but I love that guy. But there are very few, right? There are very few guys. So he calls me up and he says, Greg, he says, we need to get some guys around you. I was like, okay. He says, I want to form an accountability, and check this word out, accountability and restoration team. And when I heard the word restoration, I got to tell you, my heart jumped in my chest. Because all of a sudden, this word just popped in my mind, maybe. Just maybe. Even though there are people who are telling me, you will never be in ministry again. And even though there were people that are telling me, you shouldn't be in ministry again, and even though there were people telling me, if you ever go in ministry again, God will never bless it, and I'd read books that said the exact same thing, even though all that was true, maybe, all of a sudden it's like maybe this dream, this calling, this passion that God has placed on my heart, maybe it's not over after all. And so we formed up a team. 3 local guys, my counselor, and 2 of my buddies that were in town, and then 4 guys from around the country that were in some sort of ministry, a position. And so the deal was I would meet with the local guys every single week and with my counselor, and then we would get on a monthly conference call with the whole team. Now, I'll never forget the very first call. The very first conference call we had, I was not allowed to be on the call for the first hour and a half to 2 hours. They were on the call together with my counselor. Now, I waived all privilege with my counselor. There was no question he couldn't answer. He could tell them anything that I told him. Everything he knew was on the table. I gave them access to my wife, Stacy, too, so they could talk to Stace and get in her world and ask how I'm doing and all that. And so they're on this phone call for an hour and a half and 2 hours. Then I get this text, okay, you can call in now. And I don't know if you'd be this way, but I was really nervous. I mean, it's one thing to walk in a room on people and all of a sudden they get quiet and you know they were talking about you. You know what I'm talking about? It's another thing to know you're dialing into a 2-hour conversation that's been totally about you. I mean, I was a mess, so I'm kind of like, hey, guys. They're like, hey, you know, so small talk. And then one of them pretty quickly said this, Greg, we just want to make this clear from the beginning. The purpose of this team is not to restore you to ministry. He said, in fact, there are 3 of the 7 of us that think that should probably never happen again. He said, the purpose of this team is to restore you as a man and as a husband and as a father, and in your personal relationship and walk with Jesus. That's it. And my heart sank in my chest. And I was devastated. And it took everything I had not to hang up the phone. I just wanted to hang up and I wanted to run away. Why? Because this didn't feel like acceptance. This felt like being rejected all over again, and I couldn't handle it. I didn't want to move towards these guys. I wanted to flip them off and run away from them as fast as I could. But somehow, I didn't. And I invited them into my inner world with my wife and with my counselor and in my struggles. And they encouraged me and they supported me and they challenged me and they freaking called me out. And that went on for about a year or so. And about a year later, Discovery calls and some other churches had been calling. You know what they did? They unanimously, all 7 men, encouraged me to begin to have conversations about what God may have next for me and my family in the next season of life. And here we are 9 years later. Right? Now, here's a couple things about that I want you to hear. First is this. There is hope for you. Would you hear me on that? Regardless of how your story reads, you're in the lowest of lows, there is hope for you. And here's the second part. I had established a criteria for that team, and I was totally and completely wrong. My criteria was acceptance and help me accomplish my agenda. Their criteria was they came alongside of me. Instead, they did accept me, but these men came alongside of me. They reached down. They picked me up from the lowest of lows, helped me through the lowest of lows in my life, and helped me become the man that I wanted to be. Listen, I've had to learn this lesson the hard way. It's not just about having people around us. It's about having the right people around us. It's not just about having people, it's about having the right people around us. It's not just about having people who will tell us what we want to hear. It's people who will tell us what we need to hear. Listen, and outside of marriage, we got to set marriage aside. Do not go there with marriage, okay? Here's what I want to say to you. I am not suggesting to you that you move into or stay in a relationship that you have to work hard at, okay? Sometimes you have to work hard at your marriage. It's just real. This is not about marriage. I'm talking about other relationships. I'm not suggesting move into and stay in a relationship that you constantly have to work hard at the relationship itself. Okay, but what I am suggesting to you is this. You need a few relationships that help you work on you. And I need a few relationships in my life that help me work on me. And see, it is so easy for us to gravitate towards what? Love and acceptance. And that's important. But see, I spent the majority of my life missing the rest of this. There's more to it than just that. I didn't understand that all I was missing in my life when I continued to settle for that. All right, so much more to this. All right, that's why we're talking about this for 4 weeks. Okay, but for today, one last thought before we lead this. 2 more verses. They're exactly 10 chapters apart. Let's go back to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17. Listen to this. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. I mean, there it is, isn't it? Lean on me. That's it. We all need somebody to lean on, right? We all need people in our lives who are a safe place to land for us no matter what, especially in times of what? It's times of distress, it says, in times of adversity and pain and challenge and need. We all need someone to lean on. That is so, so true, but there is so much more to it than that. And here's the key. If I really want to become, and if you really want to become, if we want to become the me that we were created to be, we're going to need something else. And it's just 10 verses, exactly 10 chapters, later. Proverbs 27:17. Another short verse. What's it say? As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Now, the question's simple. Who's doing that for you? Who's doing that for you? I need a few people, not a lot, but a few people in my life who are willing and that I give permission to be more than a safe place for me. I need people who are willing to tell me what I need to hear, not just what I want to hear. Now, that doesn't mean I always receive it well, right? I may need to hear it. That doesn't mean I want to hear it. I can get really defensive at times, and I need a person in those moments to call me and just say, hey, you know what? I don't care. I'm pressing in and I'm pressing on. Who help me see the blind spots in my life, the things that I so easily see in your life that I miss when I look in the mirror. I need a few relationships in my life, and you need a few relationships in your life that we walk into, not for the sake of the friendship or the camaraderie or the fun, right? That we walk into these relationships. I need a few relationships in my life that I walk into for the sake of the progress that I can make in my life as a result of having that relationship. And the coolest part is this. Let me tell you, the relationships in my life where I give another person permission, where I give them permission to challenge me and to sharpen me and to call me on things. Those relationships always ultimately turn into the relationships that are closest to me. That's how God works in this stuff, right? I need a few relationships, or real relationships, who sharpen me, who help me become the me that I really want to be. So what's this look like for you? One last question, okay? This is a pretty simple question. Am I settling for comfort at the cost of progress? That's a really, really important relationship question. I'm not suggesting every relationship in your life needs to be this, but you have to have a few. Am I settling for comfort at the cost or the expense of making real progress in my life? You know, church people like to complain. I don't know if you know that. but we like to complain. People like to complain, but church people like to complain. And one of the greatest complaints in the church by church people, and this is universal. It's not just, it's universal. This is the thing that causes people to hop from this church to this church to this church to this church, and they hop around. The complaint goes like this, that they are not growing. I'm just not growing. I'm not growing. I'm not growing. That's the primary complaint of church people. And here's the thing, as I think about that. What if we're missing something here? Well, what if it's not about this? As great as this is, what if it's not about life in the row? What if it's not about that? What if it's not about sitting and receiving and learning and stockpiling scripture and memorizing and quoting and learning Greek and Hebrew? What if it's not about that? Because I just want to tell you what my experience, I've been doing church my whole life. My experience has been this. Most of the people that complain they are not growing, you know what they're missing? They're missing what it is that we're talking about today. It's true. So, when you and I look behind the curtain of our lives, and we look at the 4 to 6 to 8 to 10, however many relationships, our inner circle, we look into that circle, is the best question. Do these relationships make me feel loved, safe, and accepted? Or is there a better one? Could the better question be this? Am I making any real progress in my life as a result of having these relationships? I'm telling you, I think it's a better question. The secret to me becoming the me that I was created to be and walking into that calling, that passion, that purpose, that meaning, that significance, that unique glory that God created me to bring to people around me. The secret to that is me understanding that it's not a Lone Ranger endeavor. It really is a team sport. It's a team sport. 32 years ago, that's a long time. 32 years ago, in the summer of 1985, I showed up in Quantico, Virginia, to Officer Candidate School in the Marine Corps. That was going to be my summer vacation, right? Actually, I turned 21 years old at OCS. That's another story. But those hump things, those 15 miles, it's actually kind of fun, but let's just throw the stopwatch out. There's no reason we need to time it, right? And we really need to talk about your tone and this 4 a.m. wake-up call stuff. So other than that, we're great. Can you imagine that? It wouldn't go well for me. I want to tell you something about the summer of 1985. It shaped me. And so much of who I am as a man today I can still relate back to what happened 32 years ago. Through the discomfort, I made a lot of progress. I did. There was someone to push me when I didn't want to be pushed. There was someone to challenge me when I didn't want to be challenged. There was someone to yell at me, and someone to dream big for me too, and to push me to places that I never thought I could ever be in my life. Who's doing that for you? What does that look like in your life and story as you sit here today? I am not suggesting you need a drill instructor in your face spitting and screaming at you, okay? But who's sharpening you? And here's what I want to say to you, because this is where we go in church world. I'm not just talking about a behavior manager or a behavior coach, okay? Because we go to this accountability thing. Accountability is great, but there's so much more to it than that. Not just say, have you done this, shame on you. No. We're talking about someone who is sharpening you, who's walking with you, who occupies this space in your life, who's helping you become who it is that you want to be. Who's in that? Who's in that space in your life? Are we? When we look at our relationships, are we settling for comfort at the sake of progress? My daughter Spence, she's my third daughter. She volunteered, just graduated from high school. She volunteered to go and work at our middle school summer camp this year. And so she got assigned to ride with a girl named Lynn, who she didn't know. Now, Spencer's boyfriend, Campbell, was driving, and that would have been a lot better and more fun and more comfortable and all that. And so, but no, she got assigned to ride with this, so she didn't have a choice. So she whined and complained, as we all do. But she did it. Here's what I want to tell you. What started as kind of weird and awkward and uncomfortable has quickly become one of the most amazing and natural and best friendships that Spencer's ever had in her life. Her mom and I, we just look at it, we're seeing it, right? We hung out with Lynn and her husband Taylor. She's a little bit older than Spence this past week. Amazing young couple, world changers, right? So what? Spence looks up, and now she has someone in her inner circle who has a real ability to speak into her life. My question is, was the discomfort and the weirdness and the awkwardness on the front end, was it worth it? You better believe it was. It always is. It always is. Listen, one of the things I love about this place is how safe it is. This is a safe place for you. We talk about it all the time. But this is a great place for you to come and sit and receive and leave. Sit, receive, leave. Sit, receive, leave. And there are seasons of all of our lives, and you may be in one now, where that's all you should be doing. We have a lot of people here who show up on Sunday from other churches in town. They're on staff there. They come here just to kind of receive and heal and just refresh. And I love that. We have people here who've been hurt by church people and been hurt by the church. We have a lot of people who used to be in ministry, and they're healing. And it's a season of life where all they should be doing, honestly, is sit, receive, and leave. Sit, receive, and leave. But that is not the majority of us in the room. And so I want to issue this challenge to you before we sneak out of here today. Don't just sit there. You know the rest of it. Don't just sit there, do something. See, we have to be proactive, not reactive. And you will find, listen, it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of effort on your part for you to find your people. It does. So you got to keep taking chances and taking steps and stepping up and stepping out. I promise you this. I promise you your people are here. It's just a matter of time until you find them. But it takes a little bit of movement on your part. I want to help us all take a step in that today. So don't weird out. It's not weird, okay? I just want you to write 4 dates down. So put these on your phone or write them on the program, whatever you got in front of you. Ready? August 19th, August 27th, September 21st through 23rd, September 30th. There you go. 4 dates. August 19th, 27th. You can talk to me later if you can't get these down. 21 through 23 and the 30th. All right? Now, August 19th. What is that? That's our zombie shoot. That's our men's zombie shoot, right? That's our zombie shoot and man night connected together tonight. Going to be fabulous. You want to hear the tagline? I just made this up. Bring a gun and have some fun. There you go. All right, so that's all we're about, right? So there you go, guys. Right, there it is. That's the 19th. Skip September 21st through 23rd. Yesterday it was 15. This morning I heard it's down to 9. That's our women's retreat. Ladies, there's only 9 slots left. You want to jump on that. That's going to fill up today. So boom, there's another one. September 30th. Listen, this is City Serve. City Serve is when we come together with other churches in town, and we're going to be out on the streets doing service projects, love of Jesus, no strings attached. All you got to do is show up and serve. That's amazing. So there's those 3 dates. Here's the one I want you to circle, August 27th. What's that? That's Group Link. What's Group Link? Group Link is a night that you show up, and every single next step and connection point in this entire place will be present and available to you, and there will be great people there that will make it really easy for you to take it. Circle that date, August 27th, and refuse to miss it. You want to walk into what we're talking about today? Circle the date and refuse to miss it. That's all you need to do. Every single one of these dates is an opportunity for you to walk into what we're talking about today. Listen, first step is the hardest. There's no doubt about it. You just got to take it. But whatever you do, for the sake of your own heart, your own life, your own purpose, this unique glory to your life, your own family, don't just sit there. You owe it to your heart to at least try. We all need somebody to lean on. That is so true, but there is so much more to it than just that. So much more than we can talk about today, and we're going to pick it up right here. That's why we're picking it up right here next week. So thanks for being here today. I hope you come back. Let me pray for us. Jesus, every single heart in this room is scared of this stuff. And there's legitimate reasons why. We've all tried, we've moved toward, and we've been burned. And unfortunately for some of us, Jesus, that's even happened with church people and people who claim to love you. Jesus, give us courage. Give us courage. And help us to look at our inner circles and the people that we're doing life most closely with. If there's a heart in this room that right now feels isolated and alone and there really is no one, would you bring people around them so that they can begin to walk into this? But would you help us all to have the courage to be open to inviting other people in, just a few, for the sake of the progress that we can make as a result of that relationship, so that we can become a better version of ourselves, so that we can find this life to the fullest that you came to bring us, Jesus, so that we can walk into this unique glory that you have imprinted on each of our hearts and each of our lives, the thing that you created us to offer to the hearts and the people around us. Give us courage just to take the next step. In your name, amen. Hey, thanks for being here today. Sorry about the lights. Hang on, don't leave, all right? If you're looking to get connected or next steps, you want to talk more about what I've talked about today, go out, go to the left. There's a room called The Garage. Great people there. I'd love to talk to you about all the opportunities that are in this place, including the dates that I talked about. If you want prayer right after the walkout song, people under the screens to my right and my left here, love to talk with you and pray with you. And here's the thing, backpack drive. Today's the last day. If you forgot your backpacks, please go get them. Bring them back. We'll be here till 1 o'clock or so. If you didn't get backpacks, there's time to go get backpacks and bring them back still today. So go shopping. We're going to make it really easy for you. We got the aquarium out today. I hope it's out there. They said it would be. We put this fish tank out, and if you just couldn't get to the store or you don't have kids you're shopping for, but you want to help show the love of Jesus to some other kids and some other parents in our city, people would probably never know, give them dignity as school starts back. Just drop a 20 or drop some cash. Just be a part of it financially, and then we're going to have a team of people go out and buy a ton of backpacks. So that's a way for you to be able to look for the aquarium, buy the slat wall on your way out today. Hey, and if you believe in what God's doing here and want to be a part of this, partner with us financially. We love you. We'd love to have your help in that. We don't pass a plate. Boxes are on the wall by the back door. You can hit our app or our website if you choose to do it electronically. I'll be out by the fireplace if you want to talk to me, and I'll be back up. I hope to see you back for week 2 of Lean On Me next week. Have a great week.
To the desperate eyes and reaching hands, to the suffering and the to the ones this world has cast aside. Where you want me, I will be. I will go, I will go, I will go, Lord, save me to the world, to the lost, to the poor and hungry, to everything
could just sit, I could just sit and wait for all your goodness, hope to feel your presence. And I could just stay, I could just stay right where I am and hope to feel you, hope to feel something again. And I could hold on, I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. And I could be safe, oh, I could be safe here in your arms and never leave home, never let these walls down. But you have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. Will you lead me? Will you lead me, Lord? And I could hold on, I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. And I could be safe,